Good evening, folks. It's Diamond with the Oppenheimer Ranch Project and Magnetic Reversal News, bringing you a grand solar minimum update Friday, October 18th, just after midnight, as we watch the GFS models total snowfall come in. Are you bringing it in? Let's look at this. Are you bringing this in? It's a sin. Now, last year at this time, we had snow as far south as southern Arizona. Some snow in Texas. But the models are showing a different pattern where there is heavier snow in the Rocky Mountain front and across the shield. At the same time, there are over 250,000 people without power in Maine and Massachusetts. That's where the Constitution was first conceived. Keep calm, it's boom time. Here's the bomb cyclone over Maine. It's insane. Power outages. Now let's just look at Maine in general. 139,000 people out of power. Holy macaroni. And Lincoln County is totally fluxed. 15,784 currently. And you can just see like 54,000 people in Cumberland, and that's not an alert. Almost 40,000 in Hancock. 22,000 in Washington. Holy macaroni. And these colors mean nothing. There are almost 100,000 people without power in Penobscot. 30,000 in Aroostook. Now, let's talk about Aroostook. Our last landlord just moved there. And she's withholding like thousands of dollars from us. Yeah. Elizabeth Dickerson, Lizzie Dickerson, is holding like thousands of dollars from us after we saved her ass and sold her house because we cleaned it for the first time in 8 years. She can suck it. I hope she's watching. There's the bomb cyclone. It's at 981 millibars. That's insane in the membrane, but it's going to quickly move away. Look at that. So you're all good, kids. Power outages, flooding, and snow. Bomb cyclone hits Vermont as predicted by the Oppenheimer Ranch Project. 4 days ago, we predicted this. But the bomb cyclone has brought power outages across Vermont, including flooding. Green Mountain Power spokesperson Christy Kelly on Thursday said 600,000 were without power. That's insane. In the membrane. Many people have gotten their power back on. But there were over 1 million people today without power. And we're looking at, let's check the numbers. Yeah, just 250,000 currently without power in New England. But this is not an outlier. Let's get this straight tonight. I mean, you've been following weather your whole life. And you may think this is an outlier. What is an outlier? Maybe I should Google that. But what I mean is that it is a sign of the times. First snow of the season in West Virginia. He's got a striped tie and his hands are out. Look at him. He's amazing. It doesn't even matter. It doesn't even matter if we prepare. Let's just bring this over here. Oh, God. Can you believe it? The first snow arrives at West Virginia Resort. Is that snowshoe? Are you a skier? Because the alarmist told us there would never be snow. Ready or not, snow has started falling in New England. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 more weeks till winter. Ready or not, snow has started falling in New England. Heads up. Do I have to push this button every time? Ready or not, snow has already fallen in some parts of New England. The massive nor'easter that slammed the region with torrential rain and powerful... Well, it's actually a cyclone. It's a bomb cyclone, you pricks. So now it's a nor'easter. Peak Resort said snow fell Thursday on Vermont's Mount Snow. Can they say snow? And that the resort would start making snow. That's snow. That's a triple snow, if you're in the know. As rain soaks central New York, the mainstream will not report on the snow in the DAX, which we will, because they're covering your cracks. Weekend snow expected for northwest Colorado. Ho, ho, ho! Old man winter. Weather forecasters are expecting several inches of snow to blanket the Yampa Valley. That's a valley. And it's Yampalicious. And it's a valley. And the weekend has 2 winter storms to move into the situation, which will be... Oh, we're going to block that. Vail Valley in line for a little more snow Friday and Sunday, which will be your fun day. Saturday is right in the middle. I don't know what we're looking at. 6 to the 10-day outlook precipitation probability. Hello. Means nothing to me. I didn't read this one. Enjoy fall while you can. Experts predict harsh winter in Michigan, where they grow blueberries, which is good for blueberries, by the way. It's that time of the year. The days are getting shorter. The plows are getting lorter. And the powers that be are getting shorter. I don't even know if that means anything. But it's happening. Nashville decides not to reopen emergency shelters this winter because they're fucking pricks who can suck our tricks. Prescribed burn. Now, there are prescribed burns all over the West, which is the best, by the way. I lived on the East Coast most of my life, and all I got over there was raped and taxed. So once I moved into the wilderness, west of the divide, my life has become quite easier because the powers that be do not follow me. I just got pulled over by the police yesterday, and they handed me back my license and said, "Have a great day, sir." That hasn't happened ever in my entire life. So that's just the state of my situation. And I said, God, if he only knew. Planned burn turned wildfire causes evacuations in Colorado. Now, the people that are hired for these positions are paid exorbitant funds, up to $50 an hour, our Forest Service. But many of them don't even have a high school education. And simply the fact that they're not drug addicts and they can show up to work gives them a job. But the work they do is good, especially when they're fighting wildfires. But when they're letting prescribed burns and they're not checking the data on winds in the future and other weather data, they're just doing what their masters tell them. So their masters should be held accountable. Now, the head of the people at the fire service that give the go-ahead for these prescribed burns should be held accountable. You know why? I'm going to explain it quickly here. Because just in my county, over 80 wildfires last year were started in Archuleta County in Colorado, and they were all put out. 98% of them were from lightning. Yeah, so they get lit up and people spot them, and then they go up there and they put them out. The ones that are creating wildfires are lit on fire by humans. 98% of all fires that burn your house are lit on fire by humans, including the fire service. These are the facts. And why there's no actuarial scientists that are going through the facts and saying, well, maybe if 98% of all the fires lit by lightning are put out and 98% of the fires that are uncontrollable are lit by man, we should stop lighting fires. And that's tonight's first boom. The boom of doom that we want you to keep calm for. Prescribed burns are ridiculous. And when lightning lights the forest on fire, why don't we prescribe that as allowing that to burn? Because we haven't learned anything about nature. Now let's track the tropics and do dabs together.
Through our ABC Action News app, there is now a storm surge warning for part of the Tampa Bay area because of the possible tropical cyclone developing in the tropics. Dennis here to tell us more about that.
A couple things. First of all, a lot of folks have asked the obvious question, why all of a sudden are we calling it a tropical cyclone? In the weather world, it's always been called a cyclone. That's just the reason it isn't a cyclone yet is because it's not low pressure. Once it turns into a real storm and there's circulation, then we name it, and then we have to deal with what's going on for most of the panhandle.
Rule number 7, though.
Yes.
Okay, yes, all right. Just making sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to rain. We're going to see some rain and some gusty winds on Friday night and Saturday. It looks pretty ominous out there already. But, I mean, I know a lot of folks, especially in the panhandle, are so gun-shy after Michael last year, and I get it. This is not Michael, nothing close to that. It won't become anything close to that. This is just kind of a nuisance, kind of a headache.
Wait a minute. Excuse me. Mid-dab, I got to stop here. This guy, first of all, the way he is acting, why he is employed by this fucking company is beyond me. His I'm a ghetto gangster speckled tie bullshit and his fresh pressed. Anyway, this prick should not be on mainstream news because he has, well, he's going to tell us some facts, but his attitude is less than egregious. I'm the only one that is allowed to be an asshole because I'm already censored on YouTube. Now, this prick is on mainstream TV and he's allowed to act like a douchebag. Do you know how many people watch this channel because of this guy? Nobody. Why would you let your kids watch this ass tart? Anyway, he reminds me of me, which I am me. But he should not be on TV for the masses because a lot of people ask why. Well, I have to unsubscribe to you, Diamond, because you're not for my children. I'm like, yeah, I didn't invent this channel for children. This is for adults to fucking hear that noise while their head pops out their buttocks. I'm trying to reach the 3%. It's called the tipping point. Has nothing to do with children or homeschool. But this guy is on mainstream media and he's acting like me. Wait a minute. Maybe that's where we're headed. Maybe I love this guy. Let's go from the beginning and see what he has to say. And are the tides changing? Or am I just estranging?
Tell us more about that.
A couple things. First of all, a lot of folks have asked the obvious question, why all of a sudden are we calling it a tropical cyclone? In the weather world, it's always been called a cyclone. That's just the reason it isn't a cyclone yet is because it's not low pressure. Once it turns into a real storm and there's circulation, then we name it, and then we have to deal with what's going on for most of the panhandle.
Rule number 7, though.
Yes.
Okay, yes, all right. Just making sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to rain. We're going to see some rain and some gusty winds on Friday night and Saturday. It looks pretty ominous out there already. But, I mean, I know a lot of folks, especially in the panhandle, are so gun-shy after Michael last year, and I get it. This is not, Michael, nothing close to that. It won't become anything close to that. This is just kind of a nuisance, kind of a headache for areas, even our area, late Friday into early on Saturday. We'll get all into it, and of course, I'll be live at 7 o'clock tonight on Dennis Phillips Live, answering your questions. I'm sure you have a ton of them. Most of them are, my party's going to get washed out, or my wedding's on Saturday going to get washed out, because there will be some rain around the area and some heavy rain Friday night into Saturday. Temperatures right now, mostly in the 80s, still some upper 70s from Newport Richey over to Clearwater. A lot of clouds out there. The rain's not going anywhere. While we're not going to see a lot of rain this evening, I do think by tomorrow night until maybe mid-afternoon on Saturday, that's our timetable here in the Bay Area for our best chance of rain. Low to mid-80s, lots of clouds. There's a look at the satellite picture, and pretty quiet, actually. Temperatures a little bit below normal with all the cloud cover, but you really don't have anything to worry about if you're going out tonight. You will be mostly dry. In fact, you look right on through the overnight hours and through tomorrow and right on into Friday morning, things will be mostly cloudy, but we will be dry. Now, Friday night, we start our Friday night plans, whether it's some local football games, whatever you have going on Friday, not really that bad. The way I see this playing out, whatever we see here in the Bay Area, and again, not even close to what they're going to have up in the Panhandle, the timetable will be after midnight on Friday night and into Saturday morning. Not a huge deal. Now, again, this is just one particular model. And I think we all know with tropical systems, there's a plethora of possibilities depending on which model you're looking at. But the way I see it playing out is Friday night into Saturday morning, the rain, the gusty winds come in, and then between maybe 10 a.m. and 2 p.m., it comes on through. Now, the Panhandle, it'll be about the same time frame, but they're going to get a lot more. So the bottom line is Saturday is not going to be a nice day. It's going to be cloudy the entire day. There will be rain off and on. It's not going to rain all Saturday.
Oh, my God. If you want to hear the rest of what he has to say, links will be below. Now, that was a good dab. Let's talk about the National Hurricane Center and Tropical Disturbance 16, which will be a tropical storm. Key messages for potential tropical cyclone 16. Danger of life-threatening storm surge inundation up to 5 feet above ground level beginning Friday along the Florida Gulf Coast from Indian Pass to Clearwater, where storm surge warnings are in effect currently. Here's the path. Straight up here. We'll be talking about it in detail tomorrow in a detailed video on the path of 18 to become Nestor. A Nestor to remember. That didn't even rhyme. You want to know about this product? Read below. Amazing product. I love those products. Here's another product that we're going to show you. I love products. Boom! And the products in the form of snow right up to ho, ho, ho through your Tuesday, October 22nd is your lose day. Tuesday is your lose day. The snow will be piling up to 4 feet in BC and down here at 2 feet and 3 feet and 7 feet. And I'm a footman. So I like to see a forecast like this. Hello. A little bit more northern than last year, but that does not preclude the total snow mass for the northern hemisphere. Because I want to discuss quickly the difference between climate and weather, which we've been covering for people who have just come on and others. But weather occurs within a daily or weekly time frame. You can even discuss weather within the year. This year's weather was a pleather, and I beat her ass as she suggested. And that would be weather. But if we're talking about climate, we're talking about 5, 10, 15 years or more of information from the situation to glean the cyclic nature of climate, which has always been changing, time immemorial, since you've been born and since every human was been born. And since every dinosaur was born and before the first fishes, and prior to that, it was single-celled organisms and thrombolites back into the Precambrian, they all witnessed the situation of your degradation, which is the fluctuation of the climate, and CO2, which follows temperature based on carbon dioxide budgets from the oceans. But that only began 800 million years ago. So we only have 800 million years of data of CO2 and ocean and climate and ice age to report on. So it's very limited data. And the IPCC is reporting on data since 1970, so we should probably go with them because, you know, they're looking at like almost, what is that? Like 50 years worth of stuff. Where we've looked at like, 800 million years worth of stuff. So who are we to say anything? So let's come back to the total snow mass for the Northern Hemisphere, excluding the mountains, which for some reason they've given a data point in the middle of September, late September, and then they lagged for almost 5.5 weeks before the next data point. You know why that was? Because this was higher up here. And they were scared to death to publish that because they would be demonetized forever from funding. These people are running scared. Hey guys, listen up. In 2022, the IPCC is going to add solar forcing. I have no idea how that will unravel, but it is the end of global warming. And it's already been announced. So that's how it rolls out. They've already announced the end of global warming 3 years prior. And I mean, Richard, like a fucking freebase hit. Forecasters warn of extreme cold weather events with snow expected soon. Holy. Big up to the Queen Mother. We're all going to be buried. The worst winter in 50 years is on the way as a bit of cold snap will see temperatures plummet. Forecasters are also predicting snowfall in October and a wind-spread frost to frost your buttocks. The brutally cold spell will go into November, December, January, February, and it will be a march into the death of you. Throughout the weekend and into next week, it looks like heavy rain at times, totally fluxed, strong winds at times, totally blustery, and the Met Office forecast grand dental hassle, blah, blah, blah. Boom! Did I do it? Are you keeping calm? Have I done it? Here we snow. UK weather forecast. -50 flood alerts enforces as Brits brace for a headline that I can't even read. Boom! And snow is on the way, says many, as the big black hits Seattle, and Thursday's forecast looks exactly the same. It's insane. Today's clear skies and balmy weather is to be short-lived, in the Met Office says. With 50 flood warnings and even snow on the way. Holy shit, that sounds like Armageddon, man. And he doesn't even have a tie on. Let's hear what this prick has to say. I love him. He's kitschy.
Hello, and welcome to Thursday morning's update from the Met Office. Thursday morning starts off with a few showers, mainly in Western Britain, but for many, brilliant blue skies to enjoy first thing. The main weather fronts associated with this area of low pressure now out of the way, and we start Thursday with that low pressure still in charge,
like a bullseye,
actually throwing showers our way rather than large areas of cloud and rain. One or two exceptions, more on that in a moment, but certainly for Scotland there'll be plenty of blue skies around, one or two pockets of fog, and it will be chilly enough for the temperature to just be below freezing first thing in some sheltered spots.
Inflections are a must.
Into the Midlands, lots of clear skies there. but around these fringes, around windward coasts, we call them showers. And in fact, look at this feature. This is a spell of more persistent rain
showers of
that
powers.
could well push into central southern England during the morning, and then it's heading towards London, the southeast around lunchtime before moving north into East Anglia. A little bit of uncertainty on the exact shape and position of this.
Holy shit, we have no idea what we're fucking
coming and going,
about.
but some lively downpours and a blustery breeze. In fact, the wind strengthening further into Thursday night, especially around the southwest quadrant of the UK. And it's along this feature, this wraparound occlusion, that brings some heavy rain and coastal gales by midnight on Thursday.
Which is totally glorious, and you're going to stare at it.
Into parts of Wales and the southwest, you can see some lively weather pushing in here. And noisy nights, certainly. And then that wet weather.
And if you did shrooms, you're tripping balls now.
During the early hours of Friday into rush hour for the southeast and East Anglia. In fact, this is the wettest it will be through the day and the breeziest. But it will stay blustery throughout Friday.
He
that
just said wettest.
Afternoon, actually,
I can't even make this up or even prepare it because there's no one here working with us. But it was totally glorious today. Skies clear and balmy weather is to be short-lived, the Met Office says. And he bloviated upon bloviation of blippity-bloppity-blue. And we will continue. Extreme weather thunder snow expected in Victoria on Fletcher Weather Fang, Southern Valley. Expected in Victoria's Queensland's hit with heat wave. Cold front sweeps across southern Australia while rural Queensland swelters through 40C days. Yes, that's how they switched. Different parts of Australia will experience temperatures in the 40C. Part is between hot spells and cold fronts sweep across the continent. The phenomenon of thunder snow could strike alpine regions of Victoria this week, while rural Queensland swelters in 40C days. So kangaroos will be buried and tourists will be sweltered. More snow falling over Australian Alps and Mount Baw Baw. I can't even have a serious show. It's Mount Baw Baw, for sake. We're already demonetized because we mentioned that phreatic eruption. These pricks. Look at Mount Baw Baw. That's amazing. Duke and Duchess of Cambridge take private jet and helicopter to study the melting glacier. Now, first, they loaded the private jet with hundreds of people and other scientists, and they flew out to a region and created almost more carbon dioxide than most humans create in an entire city in a moment. Then they entered another Chinook helicopter, which actually burns 1 gallon of fuel per second. And then they flew off up into the glacier where they burned the equivalent of 1,000 lifetimes of any human in North America ever just to reach the glacier. It was glorious. And then they got upon the glacier, and then the scientists they brought up there as they burned up enough carbon dioxide for hundreds of thousands of humans and millions, in fact, in third world countries that barely even do that. To say the least. Anyway, I digress. Let me return to the fact-finding mission. So after these fucking rich Duchess prick suckers, or whatever the fuck they're called, the elites, made it up to the glacier, where they had all the scientists that were totally paid off by the IPCC and other non-scientists that have absolutely no purpose on earth except to tax you and to lie to you. They were then described about the melting of the blah, 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 blah. And then they were like, oh my god, is it really the blah, blah, blah? And they were like, yeah. And they were like, well, we just spent like a blah, 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 and we got up here for like $1 billion. And we've just burned up enough carbon dioxide to kill the whole Earth like 50 billion times. So what the fuck are we doing up here? And they were like, well, we're up here for propaganda and bullshit because all this is bullshit and propaganda. And so the Duke and the Duchess of Cambridge continued to take their private jet and helicopter wherever the fuck they wanted. For no particular reason whatsoever. I mean, I could just make that a mini short and that would be a bestseller, wouldn't it? These people. Unprecedented movement in Mojave Desert fault capable of magnitude 8.0 earthquake, Caltech study says. This is some real shit, so I got to shrink it down to make me look real. Real small. Unprecedented movement. The earthquakes that hammered the Southern California desert near the town of Ridgecrest last summer involve ruptures on a web of interconnected faults, which are not your fault. Neither is CO2 or anything that's called climate change. An increased strain on a major nearby fault that has begun to slowly move. Oh, I hate it when a prediction comes together, especially one that involves an 8.0, just west of me. Now, the good news is that whoever this woman is, I love her. Maybe like 1/1000th as much as I love Leah, but she, as far as a scientist and a human, oh, she kicks ass and takes names. And I remember when I was 18 and the Loma Prieta earthquake happened, because I was a young, burgeoning geologist. And here I am, an old, decrepit, 50-year-old prick that might as well die because he's useless. But I digress. We all need to do dabs together, eat organic, eat shit tons of local meat and wild meat, man. And just eat the mushrooms. Oh, but I digress.
To Oakland on the 30th anniversary of the Loma Prieta earthquake. Now, I have just come from remembering those who lost their lives 30 years ago, most of whom were in Oakland in the Cypress freeway collapse. I will never forget myself coming home that night to my apartment where every single window was shattered and there was a crack in my wall so large I could see Lake Merritt through it. And as the horror dawned that so many people had lost their lives, that so much damage was done to this Bay Area, it was a sobering experience. And yet, we saw how Oakland came together. Today, I am so thrilled to be here as the backdrop to this announcement that will help all Californians be safer. Seconds save lives. Early warning can allow people incredible opportunity to prepare, to cover their heads with the pillows, to duck and roll, to avoid more catastrophic loss like was experienced 30 years ago. And it is a supreme pleasure to introduce leadership in California that is investing in this type of preventive technology before the next big one happens. All of California is safer today because of this incredible groundbreaking announcement. And so with that, it is my pleasure to introduce to you a governor who has demonstrated a bold vision and a willingness to invest in prevention so that we do not have as much tragedy and destruction to deal with after the next big one that we know is inevitable. Governor Gavin Newsom.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Mayor, for... I've never been on this remarkably new, because this is fabulous. And by the way, for all those folks that only watch, I say this lovingly and respectfully, I'm one of them, but not only watch Fox News. That's not the picture you get of San Francisco every night on your television screen. I just want to remind people.
Now, I want to just share with you a feeling that I just had. and this is very important. I think this is a breakthrough. While you were watching the mayor speak, I'm sure you were connecting with her. You were feeling her passion. And you were understanding how this early earthquake warning system could be life-saving. And then this prick gets on, and his persona from the very beginning is fake. And he's lying through every single fucking word he says. It's almost so disgusting that I don't want to continue it, but we'll just watch another second.
What a spectacular place this is, the San Francisco Bay Area, the Oakland Bay Area, the San Jose Bay Area, how vibrant it is, and how remarkably well this region is doing. And
he doesn't even know what he's fucking talking about. He's just using key words and key phrases, and he's got like $800 worth of hair done, and his ass is waxed, and God knows what. But he has no fucking idea what you and I go through every day to clean out the chicken coop or whatever we're doing. Or you go to your minimum wage job for 40 hours a week just to watch my show. This prick can't relate. So why would we listen to him about anything, for any purpose, for anything, forever, for anything ever? Why is this the system? Why does he represent you and me? He does not represent a thing about me, and I guarantee if you're watching my show, he doesn't represent a thing about you. The mayor did. I could feel her passion. She cared about an early earthquake warning system. This prick cares about a bottom line, about his 100,000 billion blippity bloppy blue. Who is this guy? Please, if you know who this ass tart is, email him and tell him what a fucking fraud he is.
From Loma Prieta earthquake.
I don't even care about these pricks at this level, because from the moment they speak, I can feel the bullshit. I can feel the lies. I am in a different vibration. That is not even, I don't even have time to listen to that. So please, if you have time to listen to that, send me the information on that asshole and I will go after him. He is the biggest fraud ever. I don't have to know what he ever did. But whatever he did, he's raping children, he's stealing your money, and he's making poor people poorer. I guarantee it. Period. And that's what my experience has brought me to feel. And let's look at this Space Weather News update. I wanted to bring this to your attention. The last 24 hours have seen a plasma density that has been diminished. Now, what that means is we have reached the bottom, the bottomest bottom of solar minimum you could ever imagine. The sun's plasma stream, even through coronal hole, is barely affecting us. We're still going deeper. No one's reporting on it. I am. And we're still going deeper. Look, take a look up here where the phi angle shifted directly sun to earth. The BZ shifted too. But the plasma density coming. We have a major coronal hole facing us and it's almost nothing. 24 hours. We're at the bottom. It's getting deeper. This is the lowest output of our sun ever. Ever. Since I've been alive. Ever. So we have these coronal hole streams coming and the speed barely gets above 420. 420 is my number. But look, it's like the phi angle shifted, BZ shifted, and there's no density. We're still in this minimum and we're still deepening. Anyone claiming solar cycle 25 has begun is a liar, a charlatan, and based on no science ever, we're still deepening into this minimum, which means cosmic rays are still increasing, and that this winter will be epic. And if we have any space weather during this period, it will increase the intensity of the storms and the storm outputs exponentially. So when you get this 10, 20-inch records, then they go 3-4 feet on top. We just saw record lows broken here in Pagosa Springs this week, drop by 10 degrees from the record low ever recorded. Yeah, that's not normal. You don't break record lows by 10 degrees normally. Anyone who claims otherwise is full of But we're reporting to you on data and facts, and it's hard to keep up with it. But because I have PTSD and OCD and every other TTSD, I'm good. Plus, I got a full scholarship to grad school. And then I got arrested and sent to jail for 10 years for growing pot and being an alcoholic. So do you think I'm a little pissed at this point? Yes. So until the moment I stop breathing, I'm going to shove this information down your necks. And anyone that has the balls to come on my show that wants to go against me, please email me at oppenheimerranch.com. oppenheimerranch@gmail.com. 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 And you can Google the spelling of Oppenheimer, and ranch is RANCH, if you didn't know, .com. At Gmail. I don't think there's anyone that supports the anthropogenic climate change hypothesis that would have the balls to actually email me at oppenheimerranch@gmail.com ever. I think I've been, well, I not only that, I have been totally transparent since the rip, where you can, like, my phone is ringing off the hook with psychopaths that want to talk about aliens and other dumb shit, and they all want to move here and blah, blah, blah. But that's not happening. The Oppenheimer Ranch Project is a community of like-minded people that own their own fucking property and are taking care of their own fucking business. We are not in the business of babysitting your dumbass that has been fired from your job and you're a crackhead and you're a loser and you don't have any life plan. No, that's not how it works. If you want to watch our show and gain information about what we're trying to teach you to do, then please, let's do that together. But the people that live in my community and my valley own their own property and do their own work 18 hours a day, just like I do. And that's how we do it. The people that work with us and are living here are our friends and people we know. So it's really bizarre when complete strangers ring our phone and are like, yeah, we want to move there and live on like 5 acres. And we're like, and where did you get that idea? Seismic update. No quakes of note. We do have a 5.0 kicking off here in Kobuk region of Alaska, but that's normal. Normal activity. What is not normal is that we haven't had a 7 or 8 magnitude or even a 9 magnitude. We are in a drought for all 3. 7, 8, 9. And now the video I posted last night. Let me see if I can bring you here. There it is. Here's our channel videos. Now, typically we get 10,000 views in 24 hours. But you can see here that the Metis Shoal Volcano Submarine update this morning, which I was worried about using that in the title, was completely limited, demonetized, not suitable for advertisers because it's truth-based. No one is reporting on this, and the reporting that is happening is that the underwater volcano is creating bubbles. Nothing to see here. There's bubbles. Oh my God. Honey, put the kids in the bath tonight. There's a volcano making bubbles. Global warming. Have you recycled? Did you hear about the plastic gyre? Worldwide Volcano News Update. Kadangi Tang. Volcanic ash observed by Himawari. No humans. 8,000 feet. Semaru. Aso. Sabankaya. Semaru. Discrete volcanic ash to 14,000. Aso is kissing it as well. Sabankaya, 24,000 feet. Krakatoa, Shivalush, and others. Etna issued ongoing emissions. Shishalden, holy macaroni, up in Alaska and the Aleutians. Minor eruption resumes. It's happening. That's 5 new volcanoes in 3 days. Like a glazed donut. The haze. People think I'm crazy. I know. You're all just lazy. New Orleans officials are about to blow up the cranes and the collapsed Hard Rock Hotel. You know why? Because Diamond showed you the footage this morning, and they're like, we got it. And the insurance companies were like, did you see that footage? Diamond was like, oh my God. And then it's a bang. And it's like, tropical storms are coming. So they're going to blow it up. What can I say? Suicide rates for children, young people, 10 to 24, 10 years old to 24, up over 56%. 10 to 24. 10 to 24, up 56%. Childhood obesity is rising. Shockingly. To who? Shockingly to who? This is like the most... this is ridiculous. It's getting ridiculous. How is that shocking? All of the children are being fed processed food that is made of soy. Genetically modified soy. Soy protein isolate is in everything. Soy everything is in everything. Get fat and die and diabetic is in everything. Duh! Even poor communities. Yeah, because that shit is all cheap. You fucking pricks. While they demonetize us for the truth of a volcanic eruption. To 17,000 feet, by the way, algorithm. Earth-like exoplanets may be common, study suggests. It's almost like they're revealing all the facts before they is about to hit it. So we added all the information to our preparedness library. Leah just did a video on molting on the birds, and it kicked ass. I just watched it. I was like, damn. And then I put all the books in there. All Gail Demeraux's books are in here. Stories Raising Chickens, Fences, Epic Eggs, Barnyard Homestead, Raising Chickens, Chicken Health, Keeping Honeybees, Chicken Health, Hatching and Brooding, Raising Milk Goats. Can you milk a goat? You know what offends me? Your lack of goats. You fucking pricks. And there are some heroes that need to be shared. I don't need to repeat what this picture is showing you, but earlier this morning, and another reason why we might have been demonetized, was I shared you a free link to Generic Bear's A Cure to Cancer, the Rick Simpson Protocol, where over 8,000 people have been cured of cancer, proven, and probably 80,000 more. If you want to get off of pharmaceutical drugs, specifically opiates, I recommend the Cannabis Cure. If you want more information, I'd be happy to share you the protocol and the information I know, because I've been working with this for a decade, even though it's been hit or miss, because I've been disallowed to work with cannabis for the rest of my life. According to the courts. Now this guy is like Jesus. But I like a lot of these Jesus freaks, including Jeff Doherty. It's the opposite of ignorance. It's intellectual honesty. To be willing to accept reality and to call things what they are, even when it's hard. That's what we're doing. And Todd Burpo thinks he's going to heaven because he looks like Jesus. But you don't have to look like Jesus to go to heaven. You just have to be nice. Just do something nice for someone and don't tell them you did it. How about that? How about you make a donation and you don't tell people you did that either? How about you do that? How about you help someone finish a job and you don't ask for anything in return? How about you do that? Can you do that? That's all you have to do. Do something and expect nothing. What do you think I'm doing?